how we can represent the signal and all the LTI systems in terms of Fourier representation. Okay, so this representation of signals as a weighted superposition of complex sinusoids. So what we see, we can able to represent all the signals in terms of weighted superposition of complex sinusoids. Okay, and such signals or such this kind of weighted superposition of complex signals is applied to an LTI system, then the output is also a weighted superposition of the system response to each of these complex sinusoids. Okay, this study of signal and systems using sinusoidal representation is termed as Fourier analysis. Okay, so what I said earlier, that there are four distinct Fourier representation can be possible depending upon the signal category, right? Depending upon the signal category, either it is continuous time, either it is discrete time, or in the continuous or discrete, either they are periodic or they are non-periodic. Depending upon that, we can able to represent these signals in four kind of Fourier representations. Okay, so let us start first with complex sinusoids and frequency response of LTI system. Of LTI system. So the response of an LTI system to a sinusoidal input leads to a categorization of the system behavior that is termed as frequency response. Okay, so when the response of the LTI system, some sinusoidal input has been given, let us consider some input which is sinusoidal in nature, then the response of this LTI system gives some categorization of the system. So when this input is been given to the system, that is our LTI system, so the response what we can get will give you some categorization of the system, will leads to a categorization of the system, which is termed as frequency response. That is frequency response of system, frequency response of system. Okay, so when this kind of sinusoidal input has been given to a system, LTI system, then it leads to some categorization of the system, that is it is our frequency response. Okay, this categorization is obtained in terms of impulse responses. These categorizations can be obtained, or this frequency response can be obtained in terms of impulse responses by using convolution and a complex sinusoidal input signal. Okay, so this kind of categorization can be obtained by impulse response of the system, impulse response of the system, and the input is our complex sinusoid. So when this categorization is done with respect to impulse response, system response, that is our impulse response, and the input is complex sinusoid, so we can able to get the output is the convolution between these two, convolution between this impulse response and our complex sinusoid. Okay, so when this kind of complex sinusoids is been applied to an LTI system, then it gives the categorization in terms of frequency response. So when this frequency response is obtained, so the output which produced by this LTI system can be obtained by the convolution between this impulse response and complex sinusoid. Okay, so this output will give you some categorization with respect to frequency response of the system. So let us consider the output of this discrete time LTI system. We have been considering only this discrete time system first. So the output, considering the output of a discrete time LTI system with with impulse response h of n and unit amplitude complex sinusoidal input is represented as x of n is e to the power j capital omega n. So I hope you know what is this omega. It is angular frequency of this input, right? So this output y of n is the convolution between this system response, that is impulse response, and the input, right? Minus infinite to infinite h of k x of n minus k. Okay, so we can put this e to the power j omega n here, e to the power j omega n minus k, right? So here this n is constant because we are on the k axis, right? We are on the k axis, so we can take out from this summation this j omega n, e to the power j omega n. So what we can write, that is e to the power j omega n summation k is equals to minus infinite to infinite h of k e to the power minus j omega k, right? We are representing this one, this part, h of e to the power j omega, e to the power j omega n, sorry, j omega n. Okay, so what is this h of e to the power j omega? It is summation k is equals to minus infinite to infinite h of k e to the power minus j omega k, right? So the output of the system, we can finally write the output of the system, therefore the output of the system is a complex sinusoid of the same frequency as the input multiplied by the complex number h of e to the power j omega, right? So what we see, that input, it is having certain frequency, then the output is also of the same frequency. This expression, that output is also having the same frequency as the input. So what we can write, the output of the system is a complex sinusoid of the same frequency as the input multiplied with the complex number h e to the power j omega, right? So this complex scaling factor is not a function of time n. This h of e to the power j omega is not a function of time n, but is only a function of frequency omega. Function of frequency omega, and it is known as frequency response of the discrete time system. Response of the discrete time system. Okay, so what we did basically, we have taken the input in terms of complex sinusoid, right? So we have given to the system is having certain impulse response. So when the output has been coming out of the system, so what we get? We get the output is of the same frequency as the input multiplied with a complex number h e to the power j omega. So this term h e to the power j omega is not a function of time n, but only a function of frequency omega. So what is this h of j omega e to the power j omega? It is like this, h of k e to the power minus j omega k. Okay, so it is known as frequency response of the system. So if we draw the in block diagram, if we see in terms of block diagram, we are having the system with impulse response h of n. So what we have given? We have given the input as a complex sinusoid having angular frequency capital omega. So what we get as a output? The output is h e to the power j omega into e to the power j omega n. Okay. So similarly, we can go with a continuous time LTI system. So similarly, for continuous time LTI system, where the system is represented by system response is h of t, and input x of t is e to the power is equals to e to the power j omega t. Okay, x of t is e to the power j omega t. So the output of this continuous time LTI system is integration minus infinite to infinite h of tau e to the power j omega t minus tau d tau, right? So we can take this e to the power j omega t outside of this integration, minus infinite to infinite h of tau e to the power minus j omega tau d tau. So same way we can write as h of j omega e to the power j omega t. So what is this h of j omega? H of j omega is integration minus infinite to infinite h of tau e to the power minus j omega tau d tau. Okay. So the output of the system is complex sinusoid of the same frequency as the input multiplied by the complex number h of j omega. So for this is same, the output of the system is a complex sinusoid of the same frequency as the input same multiplied by the complex number h of j omega. This h of j omega is again a function of frequency omega only, right? H of j omega is a function of frequency omega, not the time t, right? And it is known as the frequency response known as the frequency response of the continuous time LTI system. Okay, continuous time LTI system. So if we go with the steady state representation, steady state response of this continuous time LTI system, just have a look. If we go with steady state response, so I will tell you what is the steady state response. Response can be obtained by writing this h of j omega in polar form. Writing h of j omega in polar form. So what we know? So if some c as a complex number is there, let us consider, for example, c is as a plus jb as a complex. So what we can write in polar form? Polar form, c is magnitude of c e to the power j argument of this c, right? So what is this magnitude of c? Is root over of a square plus b square, and this argument of c is arctan of b by a, right? So in the same way we can write for this h of j omega as mod of h of j omega e to the power j argument of h of j omega. So where this mod of h of j omega is the magnitude, this mod of h of j omega is known as magnitude response. Magnitude response, and argument of j h of j omega is known as phase response of the system. This argument of h of j omega is known as phase response of the system. Phase response of the system. Okay. So what is this steady state response? Let us consider you have some supply in the circuit. Some AC is been given to a circuit. Let us consider some capacitor has been connected. Let us consider in a closed circuit some capacitor and some resistance has been connected. Let us take, this is your AC input. Some switch is there. Some switch is there. Some resistor, some capacitor is connected. Okay. So this current will flow when this switch will go on. Okay. Now let us consider initially this switch is off. Initially this switch is off. Now the time at which you supposed to switch it on, that instant is known as transient time. The time at which you supposed to change the polarity of the switch, let us consider previously it was off, now you are being switched on. Let us consider at t is equals to 0, it is switched on. So the response, the current which will flow at that time, that response of the whole circuit is known as transient response. The time at which you switched on, at that time, if we consider what is the voltage and what is the current been flowing through this capacitor and this resistor, if we analyze, that is known as transient analysis. Now if you switch it on and remain it on for a long time of period, for a long time of period, the analysis which we needs to do, that is known as steady state analysis. For a long period, when the current will flow through this circuit for a long period, that is known as steady state response. Okay. So when this input has been given to a system, when it has been given for a longer period of time, we can able to consider, or we can able to get the steady state response of the system. So that steady state response, which is due to the input exist in the system for a longer period of time, at that time we can able to get this magnitude response as well as phase response of the system. So this mod of h of j omega will give you the identification of magnitude response, and argument of h of j omega will give you the phase response of the system. So as a whole, we can write this output of the system y of t as mod of h of j omega magnitude. So what are the output? Output is this one. So we need to put this h of j omega over here. So if we write, so we supposed to have e to the power j omega t is there, and this argument will come along with this. So e to the power j omega t plus argument of h of j omega. So this is the final output. Okay. This is the final output of this continuous time LTI system. So the system thus modifies the amplitude of the input by mod of h j omega. Previously we have taken the unit amplitude input. Now the output of the system, LTI system, the amplitude is get modified. So the system modifies the amplitude of the input by h of j omega and phase by argument of h of j omega. Okay, fine. Now let us solve a problem. Let us solve a problem like this only. Some circuit is given, same what I said. Some input has been connected. Let us consider some xt is there. A resistor and a capacitor is connected. Plus minus y of t is c is r. Okay. So the impulse response of the system relating the input voltage to the voltage across the capacitor. The impulse response of the system relating the input voltage to the voltage across the capacitor is h of t is 1 by RC e to the power minus t by RC u of t. So what they asked, find an expression for the frequency response and plot the magnitude and phase response. Magnitude and phase response. Okay. So what we need to do? We need to derive the expression of the frequency response when this impulse response of the system is given. Okay. So what we need to do? We need to find the frequency response of this system, that is h of j omega we need to find. So what is this h of j omega? H of j omega is this one integration starting from minus infinite to infinite h of tau, that is h of t, which is given e to the power j tau d tau, right? So integration minus infinite to infinite 1 by rc e to the power minus tau by rc u tau e to the power minus j omega tau d tau. Okay, so as it is u tau, so it will start from 0 and going in the right hand side, that is 0 to infinite 1 by rc integration 0 to infinite, we have taken 1 by rc outside, so it will become e to the power minus of j omega plus 1 by rc tau d tau. Okay, so I am just writing the final result of this. It is coming as 1 by rc j omega plus 1 by rc. So what is this magnitude response? How to find magnitude response? How to find this magnitude response? People listening or not? Right. One by rc root over of omega square plus 1 by rc whole square, right? So this is the magnitude response. And what will be this phase response? Argument of h of j omega. What will be that? Minus of arc tan of omega rc, right? So what will be this plot of this magnitude response and this phase response? Magnitude response mod of h of j omega, right, on the omega axis. So at 0, at omega is equals to 0, what is the magnitude from this? At omega is equals to 0, if we put omega is equals to 0, the magnitude is become as 1 maximum, right? At this location, let us consider it is 1. Now, if we consider omega is equals to 1 by rc, omega is equals to 1 by rc, omega is 1 by rc, then what is this magnitude? 1 by root 2. Let us consider at this location. Okay, so omega was 0. Let us consider it is 1 by rc, 1 by rc. Same, if we consider omega is equals to minus of 1 by rc, that is also our 1 by root 2, right? If we consider omega is to minus 1 by rc, that is also 1 by root 2. So let us consider this is our 1 by root 2, right? So in this way, this one will be formed. So it's supposed to modify it. It's supposed to come something like this. Okay, like this. And what will be our phase response? Argument of h of j omega. It is tangent, right? Arc tan. So at omega is equals to 0, at omega is equals to 0, what will be the phase? At omega is equals to 0, at omega is equals to 0, tan of 0, right? Right, so at the midpoint, so this curve will go from the midpoint. So what will be the phase at 1 by RC? 1 by RC and minus of 1 by RC, 1, right? So it is pi by 4, minus pi by 4 and pi by 4, right? So it will go from the middle like this. So at this point and at this point it is pi by 4 and it is minus pi by 4 like this. Okay, fine. So if we look into this magnitude response, if we look into this, so the magnitude response gives you the indication that RC circuit, this RC circuit tends to attenuate high frequency sinusoids. If we go on at the high frequency level, then the magnitude response tends to almost negligible values, tends to 0. So at the high frequency, this RC circuit attenuates all the high frequency sinusoids. That is, for omega greater than 1 by RC, that magnitude response tends to 0, right? Isn't it? So high frequency sinusoid also experience a phase shift of, if we go in this way, starting from this, if we go in this way, it also has a phase shift of minus pi by 2 radian. If we go in this way, so it is pi by 4, next it will comes to pi by 2, something like this. It is like this, it is not this. So some pi by 2 value will come. So at high frequency, it will also have certain phase shift of pi by 2, minus pi by 2, and low frequency sinusoids are passed by the circuits. If we are having the low frequency sinusoids, from this magnitude response, we can say all the low frequency sinusoids can easily able to pass through this RC circuit. Okay, fine. Up to this clear? Any doubt? Yes.
While you were explaining the previously before the problem, you were talking about discrete LTI system, not continuous time. In that, you were writing if the system input is e to the power j omega n. That omega has any special significance, or is it just an constant? Like it?
This one, this omega,
Yes, yes.
it is angular frequency.
Oh, no,
What was
because
that
before,
omega? Previously you
no,
have seen this fundamental frequency capital N, fundamental period capital N. It is omega by twice pi.
yes, yes, because that was capital omega. So
Right,
I,
right, right. So we are representing this capital omega for the discrete time system or discrete time input, some discrete time signal. So where your doubt was?
no, because I
Hmm.
was thinking about, because first I was confused about the J. Then in the next part I got clear with the J. And
J,
then I was
this
thinking,
J.
yeah, yeah, I was confused in the beginning, but in the second half I understand that was the complex number. So
That is what we have been started, that we supposed to represent these signals in terms of weighted superposition of complex sinusoids.
yes,
That is what we have been started, that our signal is the superposition of the complex sinusoids only. So that's why J is coming.
yes,
Now it is clear.
yes, sir.
So any other doubt? Any other doubt? Anyone?
Sir, one more
Hmm,
thing.
hmm, hmm.
Sir, in case of phase response,
Hmm.
what does that indicate basically, phase response?
Phase response indicates, you can able to find from this, as we go with high frequency sinusoid input, as we go, when these inputs are being given to the system, the output of the system will have some phase shift from the phase response we can able to get. Now from the frequency response, what we can get depending upon the criteria of the system, that either high frequency signals, whether it got some attenuation in the system, or it can has the same magnitude response with the fundamental frequency. Means let us consider you are having some signal. When you have been talking, some for some instant you are having quite lower frequency, sometimes you are having some higher frequency component. Now when this kind of input is been given to a system, let us consider some amplifier. You have been talking with a mic, and your voice should be amplified from the speaker. Some amplified output will be coming out. Now whether this amplifier can able to accept a certain frequency component only, or it can take all the frequency component which you have been talking. So that is what it gives, that the system, what is the system criteria, whether that system can able to get all the frequency component of the input, or it filter out some of the frequency component. So that is what will give you the indication in the magnitude response, that what is the magnitude is maintaining in the system when some input is been given with different frequency components. Let us consider your voice is having certain decibel value, some magnitude of for the different frequency component. Now when these frequency components have been fed to a system, so whether the system can able to give you the exact replica of your voice with higher amplitude, or it is filtering out some input. So the system criteria will decide, or system design will decide, which frequency components it can able to handle. So that what it has an indication on the magnitude response as well as from the frequency response, that either there is any phase change in the output or not, either there is any phase change with the frequency component. So let us consider some low frequency component as well as high frequency components have been given. So for this kind of system, for this system, particularly for this RC circuit, so this RC circuit shows you that if some low frequency components are been given to this RC circuit, so there is minimal phase shift. As the frequency has been going increasing, so phase shift are been coming into the coming in picture. So what does it mean? Phase shift between the input and the output. Some input has been given xt, and what is the output we can able to get from the system, this RC circuit, this yt, whether there is any comparison between the input or output or not in terms of phase. That is what we can able to get from this phase response. Clear? So what I said earlier, that there are four kind of Fourier series representation can be exist depending upon the periodic or non-periodic signal of continuous time or discrete time system. So if we go with a continuous time signal, continuous time, either it is signal or system, that is T, and discrete, that is N, sorry, small n. So that may be, it may be periodic, it may be periodic, or it may be non-periodic. Okay. So continuous time, if it is periodic, we need to consider Fourier series. If continuous time is there and it is periodic, then we need to consider Fourier series, Fs. If it is continuous time but non-periodic, then we need to consider Fourier transform, that is f of t. Now if it is discrete and periodic, then we need to consider discrete time Fourier series. That is DTFS. For the discrete and non-periodic, we need to consider discrete time Fourier transform. that is DTFT, discrete time Fourier transform. Okay, so first we'll start with periodic signal, that is Fourier series representation. First we'll go with periodic signal. Okay, first we'll start with Fourier series representation. So consider representing a periodic signal as a weighted superposition of complex sinusoid. Now we have particularly been focusing on the periodic signal. So considering a periodic signal as a weighted superposition of complex sinusoids. So since the weighted superposition must have the same period as the signal, right? This weighted superposition must have the same period as the signal because this is periodic signal. So each sinusoid in the superposition must have the same period as the signal. Okay. So what does it mean? Since the weighted superposition must have the same period as the signal, each sinusoid in the superposition must have the same period as the signal. So what does it mean? This implies that frequency of each sinusoid must be integer multiple of the signal's fundamental frequency. Okay. So this implies that the frequency of each sinusoid must be an integer multiple of the signal's fundamental frequency. Okay, so that is what we know about the periodicity of the signal. So the signal must maintain certain integer multiple of the fundamental frequency. It must have certain factor which is integer multiple of the fundamental frequency. Then only we can say that this frequency component is periodic, right? So what we are considering? We are considering a periodic signal as a weighted superposition of the complex sinusoid. So since the weighted superposition, this whole input, that is xt, let us consider our xn, if we have been considering this xn as a weighted superposition of this complex sinusoid. So this weighted superposition, that is xn, must have the same period as the signal. So each sinusoid in the superposition means when we have been taking the superposition of each of the sinusoid, they should have the same period as the signal. Okay, so the frequency of each sinusoid, the frequency of the each sinusoid in the superposition must be a integer multiple of the signal's fundamental frequency. So if it is having certain fundamental frequency, let us consider omega. So each of the sinusoid by which we have been represented our input, that is weighted superposition. So each of the sinusoid must contain the frequency component which is the multiple of the fundamental frequency. Let us consider twice omega, 3 omega, like this. Okay. So if we consider a discrete time signal, if x of n is a discrete time signal, with fundamental period, that is what I said, with fundamental period n, then we need to represent our xn in terms of DTFS. So this input xn can be written as input x of n can be written as, that is using DTFS, that x of n, I'm just putting in cap, summation of k numbers of sinusoid. Let us consider a of k e to the power j k omega naught n. So what is this omega naught? Where this omega naught is twice pi by n. So it is the fundamental frequency of the xn. Frequency of x of n. Okay. So the frequency of the kth sinusoid, if we are having the k numbers of sinusoids which are the weighted superposition of the signal, some weighted superposition of complex sinusoid by which we have been constructing our input xn, this k of omega naught is giving you the indication of the frequency of the kth sinusoid. Okay. So what is this k omega naught? It is the frequency of the kth complex sinusoid. The frequency of the kth sinusoid is k into omega naught. So each of these sinusoid has a common period of capital N. Each of the sinusoid, it is having certain common period n. So similarly we can represent this continuous time signal as x cap of t as, by using, for a continuous time signal we are using Fourier series. So summation of kth sinusoids ak e to the power j k omega naught t. So here omega naught is twice pi by t is the fundamental frequency of x of t. Okay. So same way here the frequency of the kth sinusoid is k into omega naught. Of the kth sinusoid is k into omega naught. Okay. Clear? So what we are doing basically, we have been taking a periodic signal as a weighted superposition of complex sinusoid. A periodic signal is there, so it is considered as a weighted superposition of the complex sinusoid. So this periodic signal must have certain periodicity with this. So the weighted superposition, that is our periodic signal, must have the same period as the signal. So let us consider, we have been considered our xn as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to this 10. So this 1 to 10 must have the same period as the signal x of n. So each sinusoid in the superposition must have the same period as the signal. So the frequency of each sinusoid must be an integer multiple of the signal's fundamental frequency. That is what we have been represented, that kth sinusoid, either it is a discrete time, either it is in continuous time. So it's supposed to have the multiplied or multiplication of the fundamental frequency omega naught. Up to this clear?